have a lot of angst, a lot of anger. People that have heard these.
What did they say last week on the text line?
You needed to smoke a joint to relax a little bit. So what do you got this week for the Ferzoco Friday?
So we talked most of the day so far about Puka Nacua's tumultuous week, I guess. It wasn't just yesterday. It's sort of his tumultuous week. He followed that game yesterday. We talked about that failed two-point conversion that actually wasn't failed because it was a fumble that sort of helped Seattle, I think at the time, tie the game and eventually end up winning it. He tweeted minutes after the game saying, "Can you say I was wrong? Appreciate you, Stripes, for your contribution. LOL." And it got me thinking because Nacua's not the only guy, really, of course, in the history of sports, but certainly this week who have had issues with the officiating. We actually had a couple that were sort of close to home. Stiz, if you don't mind hitting cut number 1 for me.
Just in general, I think it's poorly officiated game I've seen in a long time. Two have no business being out there, and the crew chief is acting starstruck. So you're seeing all kind of inconsistent calls, and I'm sure we should have got a few more texts.
So that was Ime Udoka, former Celtics head coach, the other night after Houston lost an overtime game as well to the Denver Nuggets. Stiz, cut number 2, if you will.
Calls tonight, and if so, how do you guys fight through that?
Yeah, no, it's a long season. I was talking in the past to some other refs. They're traveling to a lot. They have a lot of games, just like us players. So players have off nights. I think referees have some off nights too.
That was Bruins head coach Marco Sturm last night. Question asked by our very own Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah.
And
so they were tired from their travel and they sucked.
I'm sorry. When you lose a game, right? And everybody says this, like, you kind of sound like a baby, right? When you start blaming the refs, and that's the first thing that you go to. And I just feel like we're seeing that more and more. Seeing the MLB sort of shift into these robo-umps and automated balls and strikes system. And I wanted to ask you, Ted. You played in a lot of big games in your career.
Yep.
You won more than you lost, but there were some losses sprinkled in here and there.
Yep.
When you were at the Patriots, was that sort of the go-to that you guys would go to, whether it's players or, did Belichick or any of the coaches? Was that the direction that they wanted to go to? Because to me, it sort of feels like a loser's lament.
Never can I remember one time where that was the topic in the locker room. I can't remember it. You know what? The refs I remember, I love them. Like, I love those refs in that snow game against the Raiders. What? The tuck rule?
They did a great job that game.
What's the tuck? Never heard of the tuck rule until that night. But there was I don't think we were ever in a game where a call really hurt us in a negative way. And even if it did, I just don't think, Brian, that was something that we really talked about. I think we all just kind of, back then there wasn't cameras, there wasn't like there are now with all the different angles. And it was just, I don't remember coaches ever talking about it, complaining about it. Now we talked about officials in the capacity of, okay, hey, you know what? Let's see how the game is getting called. That was really
right.
And so see what you can almost get away with.
How it dictated how you guys played.
And that's how you played based off of how they called the game. That was about it. That's all I really remember about discussions on refs.
Did you hear what he said, though, in there? He said the thing that 31 other fan bases said. I don't really remember a play from the refs that cost the Patriots. It's like, yeah, that's what we've been saying for 31 years. How is that? I mean, for 30 years. How is that possible that there wasn't one call that went against you?
And I just feel like, and I brought up the MLB, right, and how they want to go to such an automated review system, right, whether balls and strikes or outs or what,
Yep.
I feel like part of the fun in sports is bitching about the refs, though. I think people, as much as you get frustrated, especially when calls go against your team, people love to do it. And Andy, I said this to you before the show. It's sort of like the weather around here. What's the number one thing people like to bitch about in New England and in Boston? It's the weather.
Traffic.
It's traffic and weather, and that's sort of another thing. That's true. I brought that up as well. Like,
I don't know why I live here. The weather sucks, and so is the traffic.
But people don't move.
Expensive.
People love here. Like,
it's true.
People like to bitch about things, and I think referees are one of those things. And I think people also like to do it, and Andy, you brought this up, right? Like, you don't want to blame your team sometimes, right? A guy could drop a pass, a guy could miss a throw, a guy could do whatever, right? Strike out looking, whatever the case may be. I think the refs are sort of that crutch you always have, right? No matter what, I can sort of just always blame them. Oh, remember that call they missed in the first quarter? That actually, the butterfly effect, that ended up causing us the game. So, like, to me, this whole robot umps, it's not going to fix anything. It really won't. People will find something else to complain about. They were programmed for this team to win or whatever, betting lines. Like, I just feel like these are human beings. They're going to make mistakes. And when you complain about the referees when you lose, whether you're a coach, whether you're a player, you sound like a loser.
Okay, two things. What do you think about like Will Fleming talking about that was out of the strike zone, or our a hometown guy calling the play-by-play guy bitching about the refs in a basketball game. Like, are they at fault too, the commentators?
No, I'm all for criticizing. You know what I mean? If they're going to criticize a player, if Will Fleming's going to criticize whether it's a Red Sox player or a Yankees player or whatever, I think free reign to criticize the umps as well.
Okay.
I feel like everybody
that feeds into it though.
It does. It certainly does. But if we're going to criticize the players, if we're going to criticize the coaches and managers and whoever, I feel like it's free reign for the refs, right? Like they're doing their job, and whether they do it well or not deserves to be criticized.
One more thing. I know this is your segment, sorry, but I think the square technology for the strike zone is like the best. I love the yellow line, shows us where the first down is.
Yep.
Love that. And I love the square in baseball, so I can see if it was a strike.
But do you want that to be the only thing? Do you want the ump making the call behind the plate?
Yeah, I like the visual. I like the the arm going up and the
they're not going to really robo-umps. They're going to you can challenge the call. It was outside the little white box. You called it a strike.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they really lean in the other way, because if this system works, which in theory you think it would, right?
It should.
Shouldn't every pitch be considered the same? Shouldn't every pitch be reviewable, or every pitch be correct?
The only thing is baseball is different. Like balls and strikes, they can probably make a computer.
It's not as subjective.
Whereas in football and basketball,
there's
too much going on. There is no AI, not yet anyway, maybe in 30 years.
Think about, like, we like some of the call. I thought Marcus Jones had an interception. People are telling me, no, that was pass interference.
Right.
Like, so it's football, it's way more objective than I think in the balls and strikes in baseball.
Yeah, and I think we just all need to accept there's going to be mistakes. Just like you said. Like, the offensive line is going to miss blocks. We don't get rid of every offensive lineman after every missed block, right? You just go, well, he graded out at an 88 on PFF. He needs to be a 92 or better now. So the refs are going to make some mistakes, but I get it. I'm as critical as the refs as anybody. I see it at all levels, and I bitch about it and moan about it, but it is kind of fun. It gives you something to kind of everybody loves to bitch in the crowd, so it brings the crowd together against the other.
How many callers did we get on Monday bitching about the refs after the pitch?
Wait till you have kids and your kids play game, and the refs are screwing.
I'm going to want robo-umps.
You're going to want the robo-umps.
It's so true. All right, Ferzoco, nice job.
Bud.
Good passionate topic.
Appreciate it, guys.
We'll talk to you. Well, I won't talk to you next Friday, but somebody will talk to you maybe next Friday.